Kodocha. Everybody has this. What do they call this in America? Kodocha. Kodocha. So this is the chick that was on, that was on Red Bull before Red Bull was invented, basically. That's what I like to think of it. Very 90s. Very early 90s. I'd say 92, 93-ish era. Very awesome series. I've seen all of it. I've seen the whole damn thing. This is all they've released in America so far. I hope they release more later. It's funny, Funimation released it, but I guess they didn't sell enough copies to... But it's big. Kodocha is really, 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 really big. It's so many seasons. Oh my god. But I hope they really... I'd love to own all of it. And then obviously, Kokako no Korotai. Everyone knows it as Ghost in the Shell. I love Kokako Korotai because it sounds cooler. It's basically Section 9 is the original title, and they use Ghost in the Shell still as a reference for in the actual series. Obviously when they made Standalone Complex, they actually put Ghost in the Shell right with Kokako Korotai. They made that the whole title is basically Kokako Korotai, Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex. Huge long ass title, but originally, the original movie was called Kokako Korotai. So this is the very first launch DVD that came out in 90 whatever. This is the one that made manga shit tons of money. Yeah, that's Anchor Bay published it. I went to the theater to see this so many times it wasn't even funny. The English version was not bad. I can tolerate the English version. I still like the Japanese voice better, but I saw the American voice. They did a good job because they didn't hire famous people, famous voice actors. And I think the voice actor for Duke Nukem, John St. John, I was watching his YouTube channel, and he was saying stuff about, voice actors, American voice actors and stuff, and why, obviously his main point was that, you should leave the voice acting work to the voice actors because they're professional, they're trained, and they're not expensive. They don't get the big paychecks that, Hollywood people get. So his point was, when they make movies these days, like this, and you see names like, Uma Thurman, Patrick Stewart and shit on them, it's like those aren't the people that should be voicing these, because, they're very professional actors, but they're not professional voice actors. Sure, Morgan Freeman and Patrick Stewart have really good narration voices, but that doesn't mean they're really good character voices. And in all honesty, and I don't really want them to be... I don't like voice actors to be, there's so many voice actors that span all anime that are so similar that, you hear that voice and you're like, oh god, I know that voice actor, that Sayu, or Seiyu. But anyway, the Ghost in the Shell English voice acting is really good because they used really good professional voice actors. They didn't use famous people in this. And that's why the dubbing was so good, and they just don't do shit like this anymore. I don't know why they don't, it just bugs me. Special edition DVD, I think I bought that just because it's Ghost in the Shell. This is the 2.0 Ghost in the Shell, where basically, one of the things that you'll notice, and it was a big controversy thing, and Production IG made a huge deal about it when Ghost in the Shell came out. The green ambience. If you've seen the original Ghost in the Shell movie, you've seen Ghost in the Shell. There's green themes. All the data, all the digital, all the digitation, and all that shit is all green. So the theme of Ghost in the Shell is all green. The data flow is all green, and that's the theme of it. And then you think, well, what the hell else did they use that in? They used it in Matrix, right? And, they stole so much shit. It was so blatant. It's fine. If they'd admit to it, it's fine. And honestly, they kind of do. They honestly do, because I watched the Matrix making of stuff, and the actual producers and stuff, they're there in the thing saying that, we had Ghost in the Shell. We put Ghost in the Shell in, and we were having them watch this. And the brother's like, I want to make it look like this. So they did. They stole the conceptual art viewpoint of Matrix, the visual concept of Matrix from Ghost in the Shell, but they admit to it. they're not trying to hide that they didn't. They blatantly say that they did. So and that's okay with me. Ghost in the Shell 2.0, they turned all the green shit because the Japanese were so pissed about it. And they made it all orange instead, which is funny as hell. I mean, it kind of makes sense because a lot of the future Ghost in the Shell shit, all the stuff is all different colors and stuff. It doesn't really matter. But I think they just wanted to pull it out of the green theme, and I don't know. It's just weird. They just decided to make it all green when they redid all the CG animation in it. Ghost in the Shell 2. This is released by DreamWorks, believe it or not. I think. Yeah, it was released by DreamWorks, which is amazing. I mean, wow. So I don't know how the hell that happened, but Mamoto Oshii obviously returned for this. This is mostly almost completely CG, with 2D overlays and stuff like that. Just tons of CG. It's a really good story. Very, very psychological. Extremely psychological, but very, very good series. A very good movie. Same movie, just obviously on Blu-ray. This, I actually ordered this in Japan. This is that Bandai got the licensing for this. This was, I mean, we're talking a long time ago. This is like when Blu-ray, we're talking like 2006 is when I got this. So this is they ended up releasing this exact same thing in America. And I told you this, they did the same thing. This is Haname's, Bandai's Subdivision. They released this exact same thing. Like, this is the actual Japanese copy. I bought this, I didn't buy this. I wasn't in Japan when I bought this, but I ordered this and imported it from Japan. But I mean, look at this. This is, I mean, they planned on releasing this both in the US and Japan. The thing that we saw about it, because this is the first one of the Hanamis titles I purchased, is that, I mean, God, all this is in English. Well, that's not in English. But basically the reason why I purchased it is because it's all subtitled in English. All of it. It's all subtitled in English. And it's very well subtitled. I mean, some of the best subtitles I've seen. So basically what they did is all they had to do is just release this in America. This isn't all of Ghost in the Shell standalone. This is the Blu-ray, but this isn't all of Standalone Complex. This is basically, these cut out all the, this is like the Dragon Ball Kai of Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex. All of Standalone Complex, the first and second season. They're just condensed versions of the two series. They literally, every episode just focuses on the individual 9 only. That's all they focus on. So that's what this is. So if you see this anywhere, this is out in America. You can buy this in the US. That's what this is. This isn't every single episode. So keep that in mind. But it is awesome to watch it. The quality is amazing. This is Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex. This is the US release. Obviously, you can tell I'm a huge Standalone Complex fan. I bought pretty much every single steel case, everything that they had, every special. I mean, some of the boxes that each of these came in were gigantuous. But yeah, I just got all of it. I love Ghost in the Shell. It'll always be cult forever. It will forever be cult. And just the boxes they have in them are just amazing. I don't know if you guys have ever seen any of the steel boxes in here. I'll pull one out so you can see it. Well, these were just regular. The reason why I bought these is because I like surround sound a lot. I have surround sound theater system. This is the only way you can get the DTS version. See, this is DTS, and this is the only way you can get the DTS surround sound copies of the Japanese track. So that's the key. I didn't buy them just because they had all the metal and stuff. I probably would have bought it anyway, even if they didn't have the DTS for the metal cases and stuff. I only go this crazy on series I really, really care about. You should see the season 2, the individual 9-second gig. You can see they have these transparent insides and stuff, so you can see right through it through the disc. Very, very awesome. It's just, I love how they did this series, and they got them all laid out so you can see exactly which volume each of them is. Awesome. They had these on the shelves for a long time, so I think a lot of people have these. I don't think these are rare at all. This is the steel case for Standalone Complex Solid State Society. This movie comes on Blu-ray in that set that I showed you over there just a second ago. Vampire Princess Mew, a lot of people have this. This is old school 90s, cute little vampire girl anime with really scary protector kind of thing. A Place Promised Anobasho something. I can't read the rest of it. Place promised in our early days, which is pretty much an exact translation. This is by that same guy that made Hoshi no Koi. I think he had a bigger budget this time. I don't think he did all this all by himself on his Mac. I think he actually got his own little studio and stuff. That's Ghibli, Porco Rosso, everybody knows that. No, that's Miyazaki, sorry. Eureka 7, everybody loves Eureka 7. That's new-ish. It's pretty good. The movie is basically, a lot of people ask me this, if Eureka 7 movie is, different from the TV series. It's basically the TV series. They kind of reanimate it, but they just kind of condense the whole TV series into, and they reuse a lot of animation too. And they brush up a lot of it and stuff, but it's pretty cool. Eureka 7 it's one of those, epic arc animes, like Last Exile. Just like Last Exile, where it's a couple kids, and they go on this big, huge adventure that ends up, their adventure becomes part of, the fight for the world and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, lots of animes like that. This is Guyver, the original Guyver, released by Manga, US Manga, Liberty Media. Really cool. The original Guyver is very awesome. There's actually Guyver. Since we're at Guyver, I show you this better than all the Guyvers that almost nobody in America has ever seen, and they never released it on DVD either, ever. This is the new TV series. I'm just showing you really quick so I can move over here. This Guyver, I have this up here because it is a collector's item. This was released by Disc Image Entertainment. Who the hell knows this? I remember renting this in oh God, 1992, 1991. But it's been around since 1980. It's been in America since 1980 something, 1987. This looks like when it came out. But I've seen it on shelves for a long time, mostly video stores, but I've never seen it for sale. Maybe, it was probably for sale back in the 80s, but it's not for sale anymore. But this is really, this is extremely good condition. That's why I bought it. I actually paid a lot of money for it. There are not a lot of copies of this out here, but this is the clamshell. This is how it was originally released. This is the original clamshell and all that kind of stuff. I know you say, people say you shouldn't, leave stuff collector stuff out in the open like that, and you shouldn't handle it and stuff. I don't give a shit. It's mostly about owning it, and so I can. The biggest thing is so I could watch it when I felt like watching it. So that's why I bought it. But this Guyver Out of Control, I doubt most of you have ever seen this. The few of you that have, probably, it's probably a bit, with the internet, honestly, there's nothing out there that's really hard to get as long as you're willing to spend the money. But it was a bitch finding a good quality version of this, one that was almost new. That was really, really hard. But this, I was always hoping that they would release this. This is a movie, basically. This is the Guyver movie. I was always hoping they'd release this in America, but they never did. Not yet, anyway. Serial Experiments Lane. This is absolutely cult. Maybe not to the new generation, but to my generation, this is super, super, super cult. This held the cult record for years and years. They have some visions of the internet and what it would be like and all that kind of stuff back before the internet really became broadband. Most of this takes place in an internet world where there is broadband, and everybody, when this came out, everybody was still on dial-up. They had dial-up modems and stuff. But it's very, very amazing. If you haven't seen this, this is a great psychology lesson, I guess. Not as good as Evangelion, but it puts out a very, very strong message about the cyber culture and, not necessarily where things could go, but, basically computer addiction and stuff like that. They touch a lot of that stuff. Technology addiction. They go into a lot of that kind of stuff. But it's very interesting. It's very, very, very psychological, though. So if you like very intelligent stuff, you'd like this. Last Exile, this is awesome. They actually have this Range Murata special edition. This is still out. You can still buy this today. It's out of print, but I've seen it all over the place. Range Murata is such he's such a badass. But yeah, this is an excellent series. What a good series. This is one of those epic arcs, you know, like, you know, well, this predates Eureka 7, but, you know, a couple of kids get into it, start an adventure, and end up changing the world kind of thing. So, cool stuff. Last Unicorn. This was animated by the Japanese, but it's an American production. So, that's why it's here. I consider things, if the Japanese animated it, then it qualifies as a Japanese animation, regardless if it's an American production or not. So my uncle was a huge fan of this. I think mostly in secret, like he didn't tell anybody. I kind of wish he did. This is the German release of it. Basically, I bought this copy, I bought these 2 copies, but this one came from my uncle. I also have this, which you guys probably might recognize. This is the CED, not Laserdisc, but the CED, which is something that predates Laserdisc. If you're really old gen, you'll know what these are, of The Last Unicorn. So this is absolutely a collector's item. I got this from my uncle. The Last Unicorn is an amazing, like one of the best American production animations I have ever seen in my entire life. Probably my favorite, without a doubt, would be The Last Unicorn. The English voice acting is amazing. They do use some famous voice actors, but they weren't really famous back then. Like, see Jeff Bridges? But Jeff Bridges wasn't really famous when he did this. I mean, I think this is like right after Starman or something like that. Right after, Starman. Mia Farrow. They're famous people now, but back then they weren't too. Mia Farrow was very famous, but her voice is amazing. Mia Farrow's voice is amazing. To this day, I've never heard anyone's voice like Mia Farrow's. Mia Farrow is amazing. God, I wish she had done more voice work. Mostly, you can see her mostly in live action stuff. But yeah, Last Unicorn. If you've never seen it, you should see it. It is an amazing American production. Absolutely amazing. Record of Lotus War. I'll be honest, and all you Loader fans can kiss my ass, but I love Lotus War more than Record of Lotus, or more than Lord of the Rings. I really do. I like the story more. I like the epicity of everything. The portrayal of magic in this is more powerful. It's not quite so passive like it is in Lord of the Rings. The story is extremely good. The characters and what they experience is just very good. It's just extremely solid, and it's really good fun. I know a lot of families, even in the 90s, that were watching these. Their whole family, that big fans of this series. But honestly, if you like Lord of the Rings a lot, you should watch this, because this is the same shit. This is, I mean, everything that you like about Lord of the Rings is in here. I mean, they got the elves, they got the dwarves, the knights and the mages and all that stuff. They got all that stuff in here. They just rearrange it and tell their own different, I think, better story with it. It's not Lord of the Rings. It's not a story about Lord of the Rings. It's not about the rings or anything like that. It's just, it's RPG stuff. It's dwarves and elves, and the Japanese put their own spin on it. And it's just really well done, this original one. Now, that being said, this is the TV series, and this is not as good. The opening is awesome. The opening credits for this is fucking awesome, but the TV series doesn't even touch this. This is absolutely classic Blade Runner level classic, awesomeness. And this obviously predates the Lord of the Rings movies that came out. But this is, I've seen the Lord of the Rings movies, and I don't even, I like this more than Lord of the Rings movies, and this is way predates those. This is not as good. If you really like the characters in here, this is just kind of extends it a bit at low budget. Is basically as the animation is worse, because this is all OVA. This is all OVA. This is not a TV series. This is OVA, so the animation quality is very high in this. But this is just a TV series with a lower budget, a much lower budget. So.